Hello, I'm in a terrible fucking mood, but let's do this. Sorry if I sound a bit weird. A Rosencruz awakening. I'll try to get into it. It is morning and Nazir and I are in my study. He had not visited me for weeks, not since the day when Ishbel's treason was publicly exposed. It would almost be nostalgic if not for his uncharacteristically subdued tone and somber look. Yes, all who undergo it become members of the Rosencruz family. What about my brothers? I do not think they will. The Rosencruz talent can skip generations. Often the Rosencruz blood runs true in one sibling, but not in the others, as it does in you and as it does not in your brothers. I don't understand. Why me? Why not Seren or Aurelius? I don't understand either, Nazir. He lapses into a brooding quiet while I prepare my answer to the next question he is going to ask. Valkii, when I tried to use magic recently, almost unconsciously my hand rises to trace the petal markings around my neck. Nazir's eyes follow the movement. They hurt, the petal markings. When I cast a spell, they burn you. The stronger the spell you cast, the more painful is the torment you suffer. Nazir winces. Yes, and my magic before, it came to me freely, like a stream of water I draw in or discharge as I please. Now the flow is sluggish. Constrained, rather. Not only does using magic now hurt you, it is harder too. Tighter, as though a dam is partly blocking what once used to be a free-flowing stream. That's it. What's wrong with me, Valkii? Why can't I use magic as I had before? It is what is wrong with all Rosencruz. It is the curse of our blood. Curse? For what am I cursed? Not for anything you have done, but for what you might do. You're not making any sense, Valkii. You see, Nazir, in our veins flow the sins of our ancestors and an old oath. Long and long ago, demons plagued these lands. And so, for reasons that should be obvious, what I have told you must be kept secret from everyone outside our clan for the moment. Even from your brothers and your uncle. Nazir, surprisingly, had held himself still and sat through the entire tale, not making a sound until I finished. Never before have I seen him so serious or so attentive. Then again, what I had just said was a lot of information to digest all at once. Coming right on top of Ishbel's betrayal, no wonder it should leave Nazir somewhat grim and shell-shocked. I can't believe it. I had a hard time coming to terms with it too. So all the while, each time you've cast a spell, those markings on your neck were... They are not so painful for most day-to-day spells, and you do get used to it over time. They say even slaves get used to their manacles over time. It isn't so bad, Nazir. Bad or not, I'll have to get used to it. You will, and it really isn't so bad, honest. Nazir does not look noticeably cheered up by my words, and no wonder. He had just discovered his own talent in raw magical power, something he distinctively excelled his brothers at, something he can take pride in. Only to discover that the source of his newfound pride is to be locked to him, and worse, potentially even a menace to him and to the people he loves. After everything that had happened with Ishbel, he must feel as though even his own body is now betraying him and letting him down, taking away from him the last thing he thought he could rely on, his own strength. Thank you for your time, Valkii. Nazir manages to twist his mouth into a semblance of a smile. He gets up, preparing to leave. Wait, I'm not done yet. The words are out of my mouth before my brain can process them. Nazir sits back down, looking confused. There's something else? Yes? Well, what is it? I was thinking... Think... Want to talk to Dad? Beg your pardon? Perhaps you should talk to my father, I mean. For the first time since Ishbel's death, Nazir's old devil-may-care grin plays over his lips. My dear Valkii, I wasn't aware that we've proceeded to that stage. Huh? Meeting parents, I mean. The realization finally dawns upon me. Wait, no, that's not what I meant. About being a Rosencruz and so on. You must have a lot of questions, or at least you will have a lot of questions soon, and I can't answer them. Additionally, I was born with those markings. I never experienced the awakening myself, so there are a lot of things I don't understand either. Your father knows everything. I'm sure he'll have the answers to all the questions you can ask. And he'll be able to give you guidance and advice too in your future as a mage or an alchemist. That's an idea. I'm sure he and the High Council will leap at the chance to mentor an Eskian prince. The High Council, huh? I wonder if... Who knows? You see, Nazir, being a Rosencruz can open doors too. Nazir pauses, contemplating over my words, and I can see the gears turning in his head. Thanks for the advice, my dear Valkii, and the pep talk. Both will be gratefully considered. Remember what I have told you. Shall be a secret between us unto the grave, I know. Not to the grave, but for the time being, the fewer outsiders know, the safer we are. He makes to get up again, and this time I cannot stop him. I'll see you next week for lessons. I feel like an idiot because of the smile blossoming on my face. See you next week, Nazir. Yay! Yay! Alright, pausing time. What can I do for Nazir? Alone in my study, I sit hunched over my desk, massaging my temples. I am trying to puzzle out the correct procedure a royal tutor should take whose charge had undergone an extraordinarily late awakening to become a member of the Rosencruz clan. Should Nazir's awakening be kept a secret forever? Tempting, but impossible. Sooner or later, someone will notice the telltale petal markings around his neck, even by accident. Once that happens, the cat will be out of the bag. A Rosencruz existing in the Eskian royal family will shatter the peace and calm we so painstakingly built here. Perhaps I should inform the regent? As the prince's uncle and, for now, the head of their household, if anyone has the right to know, he does. And although unlikely, I cannot rule out the scenario of Seren and Aurelius undergoing awakening too. Though neither of them possess as strong an affinity to magic as Nazir, they are still not inconsiderable mages in their own rights. Should they too undergo their awakenings, it is indefinitely better that there be more experienced Rosencruz at hand to help. On the other hand, who knows how the Lord Regent will react? No, this matter is too important to be confided in people outside the Rosencruz circle. If anyone has the need to know, the head of the clan, my father, is that person. Making up my mind, I pick up the quill and dip it into the ink pot. Dear Father, as a matter of considerable delicacy has arisen over the course of my mission. I mean, she better hope this doesn't get intercepted. And I will let myself be guided by your advice. I finish the letter by signing my name in an elegant flourish. Outside the window, the sun is setting with a garish grandeur, staining the furniture and walls of my study crimson and gold. It is late, and I ought to be going down to the dining hall to sup. But Nazir worries me. He has been uncharacteristically quiet and withdrawn lately. Though I can see he tries to hide it with the occasional cheerful remarks, he is a long way yet from fully getting over the double shock of Ishbel's treachery and his own awakening. Perhaps a kind word could be what he needs. Or would he prefer to be given time and left to himself to sort his own feelings? I wonder if I should check on him. Check on him? We're still max, so what does checking on him do? It doesn't do anything, so. Nazir always likes having people around him. Deciding that it cannot possibly be any different now, I make my way to his chambers. Nazir? I pause in front of his door. It is slightly ajar. I push it open tentatively. Hello? His room stands silent and empty. This is odd. He hardly ever leaves his room these days. Where can he be? A slender strip of parchment fluttering on the vanity catches my eye. I'm just going out and may take some time. Valkii, if no one is kicking up a fuss over me, make sure no one else sees this. I laugh softly. So that is where he is, going out and being away for some time. His old truancy routine, just as though everything that happened in the past month had never been. I take the parchment off the vanity and rip it into 100 tiny pieces. It does not look like anyone else has read it or noticed his absence. Certainly no one is kicking up a fuss because of his latest escapade. If he comes back within a reasonable period of time, no one would even realize. Except me, of course, which Nazir will know once he sees his note is gone. Satisfied I have done what I can today to help Nazir, I give his chambers one final look and head down towards the dining hall for my supper. Can we skip? from which it is evident that unless the exercise of magic is sufficiently controlled, the defects caused during the crafting... Yeah, we can skip. Jolly good. However, the condition of one child is not satisfactory. What's happening? He seemed to have suffered an extraordinarily high temperature the night he was freed. Oh, so we're about to meet Beringer. And despite the best medical attention the palace has to offer, save the child's life and finish today's lesson early. 2 birds with 1 stone. Give our regards to your colleague. Okay. Items requested. Oh, I haven't been doing these. Did I do the merchant one? I must have, right? I feel like it was the beads. We actually have like a lot of money, so I think we're fine. And we just need the spices. Fuck, no one can make that. Okay. That's not good. That's not good at all. I didn't realize. That's not good. What? You should be able to make that, shouldn't you? Am I going crazy? No, wait. 100. Fuck. I may need to go back and change something. Okay, I will see you after the pause. Alright, we just met Beringer, I guess, and now here we are. And how is our other patient doing? Frightfully, thanks. Yourself? I get by. Nazir half reclines on the bed in his suite, leafing indifferently through a tattered old book. I am paying him my regular visit to check up on his recovery from his awakening. Waving a hand airily, Nazir reassures me. I am on the verge of a breakdown, my dear Valkii. I am forced to endure these dreadful morning confinements one day longer. I shall simply go out of my mind. I will put your remarks to the doctors when I see them tomorrow. If you can deliver me out of this, darling, I shall pledge myself to your man. I shall pledge myself your man for life. I'll do what I can. Nazir flips over a page. He frowns as though a thought suddenly struck him and puts down the book. I say, Valkii, what is it, Nazir? There's a rumor on the grapevine I have a rival. Huh? Dastardly taking advantage of my temporary weakness, he's been busy stealing the hearts and minds and adoring looks of the palace maids. It cannot be denied, he is certainly popular with the ladies. They cannot keep their hands off him, in particular his irresistibly tousled mop of hair. I may have had to fight down this urge once or twice. Even more unforgivably, he has been keeping my beloved Valkii up of nights, giving her crow's eyes. You have discovered my guilty secret, Nazir. I am devastated. Who is he, my dear? Do I have to duel him or something? Beringer. Beringer? I hear the heartless rake is only 7. 6, actually. Does he prefer swords or sabers? I think he is partial to hot rolls dipped in milk. What about you? I beg your pardon? You? Oh, sabers. No, silly. I mean, how are you holding up? Splendidly, splendidly. And the bags under your eyes? They're holding up splendidly too. They should. How much sleep have you been getting these past few days? Enough. Liar. I'm not. Arso. I'm not. My dear, you've been fussing like an old hen over me and Beringer, and still leading classes for my brothers and me. And for all I know, scribbling more reports to your council. Who told you? Your eye bags. Those dratted tattletales. As fascinating as Beringer's and my late awakenings are, you've got to take better care of yourself. Who says I haven't? I do. Admit it, Valkii, you've been overworking, haven't you? What should I say? Does he still like us? Well, Aurelius is like Max. What am I doing? Daily life. Wait, we're good. Does he still like us? Or did he want us to tough it out? Alright. Maybe just a little. Just a little? Oh, fine. It's been a tough few days, I admit it. He looks me up and down with an appraising thoughtfulness in his eyes. Come here. Turn over. What? No dawdling. Obediently, I spin around so that my back is turned on Nazir. What am I supposed to be seeing? Nothing. Close your eyes. I'm not going to let you steal my first kiss, Nazir. My dear, I do not use underhanded tactics in love and war. Close your eyes. Not without some sense of trepidation, I close my eyes. And so? 2 hands slide over my shoulders and begin kneading. Too much force? No, just right. Go on. Your muscles are way too tense. You're turning them to jelly. Feels nice, doesn't it? How did you learn to massage so well? Learned it from a masseur in the White Hart. What for? At first, it was to help Uncle relax, and when I grew older... You'd be surprised the things others will let me do under the official... I'm not sure I want to hear more. Pity some of my best anecdotes. I'm starting to fear for my virtue. But, my dear Valkii, I am pledged to defend your virtue to the death from cads like that 7-year-old Beringer. He's 6. There, done. The hands leave my shoulders. I flex them tenderly. I feel as if a decade of tensions and stress had been freed from those muscles, leaving them feeling fresh, clean, and new. Ever so grateful, Nazir. Just don't forget to free me from this cell when you see the doctors tomorrow. Well, if this is all, I ought to be on my way. Busy day. I get to my feet, stretching. Hang on. As you command, my prince. I'd like to meet this rival of mine. You want to meet Beringer? Can't I? I want to see what the person stealing my beloved from me looks like. Much more handsome than you. Seriously, Nazir, why? I mean, we are supposed to keep this awakening business top secret from everyone else, aren't we? It'd be a relief to be able to discuss it openly with someone going through the same. I imagine Beringer would be grateful for the chance too. That's not a bad idea, actually. So, that means I can? I don't see why not. He could be a good influence on you. I stand up, and this time Nazir doesn't stop me. So long, Nazir. Take care, Valkii. Where's the romance? Walking away down the corridor from his suite, I mull over Nazir's proposal with considerable satisfaction. Beringer is alone in a strange place, isolated by necessity from other children. He must be terribly lonely and in need of a friend. Nazir's open, outgoing personality should make him an instant hit with the solitary child. They might end up becoming good friends, one way or another. Both of them need good friends in their lives. I find myself grinning as I begin to plan the time and venue to introduce them to each other. Okie dokie. Let me have a look at my stataroonies. What about your stats? I think we can create this now. Yay, thank you, Saren. I realized that Saren could create it faster. Alright, I don't think there's anything else I need to do. I think these are the last things. Oh, alright, what am I doing? I'm just getting the combat up, I guess. Guess it doesn't really matter anymore. That's just terrible. I spot Nazir lying in the middle of a field of wildflowers, looking up at the clear blue sky. Found our man? Beringer huddles against my side the way a chick would for protection with his mother. Is he Prince Nazir? That's him. Is he scary? Not one bit. Go up and say hello, Beringer. By now, Nazir has noticed us. He picks himself up from the flower bed and gives a jaunty wave. Hello, who's the little one? I'm... delighted, I'm sure. Prince Nazir of Veskia, very much at your service. He sweeps into a low bow before Beringer, who giggles. Then, terrified to have sniggered at a prince of royal blood, he promptly vanishes behind my back. I'm not that scary, am I? Come on, kid, say hello to Nazir. Won't. Nazir isn't so bad. He only looks beastly. He isn't really. 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 He hesitantly peeks out from behind my waist at Nazir, who grins. I don't look beastly either, do I? No. Good boy. My name is Beringer. Mine's Nazir. Beringer takes a deep breath to muster up his courage. Hello. How do you do? Shake hands? Nazir extends his hand to Beringer. The child eyes it as a rabbit would an advancing cobra. He starts to put forward his own hand uncertainly. Before their hands can touch, however, Beringer whips his head behind, whips behind his back and vanishes once again behind me. Beringer whips his behind his back. Yeah, there you go. That's a little rude, Beringer. I'm sorry. Skittish little creature, isn't he? I bet I'll have him eating it out of the palm of my hand before the day's over. He's a child just freed from captivity, Nazir, not a wild animal. Instead of replying, Nazir kneels down so that he is on eye level with Beringer. After a few heartbeats, the child peeks out again. The two make eye contact and Nazir holds his gaze. I hear you like hot rolls. Guess what I've got? Without looking away, Nazir's hand whisks a buttered roll, piping hot and wrapped in paper, out from his pouch. He holds it towards Beringer, who inches forward and then plucks the treat out of his hand. In a couple of seconds, the entire roll, crumbs and all, have disappeared into the bottomless pit that appears to form the child's digestive system. How does it taste? Delicious. You're welcome. Thank you. Shyly, Beringer ventures out from my back once again. You know, I've always wanted to have a little brother like you. Like me? Sure, adorably shy, good-natured. The antithesis of that terrifying Aurelius. The one who tricked Valkii to a duel and smashed her to bits. Well, I'm not saying Aurelius hasn't got his good points. I'm right here, you know. Are you? Then I must say it wasn't very nice of you to eavesdrop into a private conversation between Beringer and myself. You Rosencruz too, like me. I'm of the House of Eskia officially, but it appears that yes, we are both of the same, we are both of that same, apparently rather extended clan. Does that mean you're a mage too? I was one even before my awakening. But so far I've been trained in the casting fire and wind magic only. I see. When he hears the word awakening, Beringer turns pale and unhappy. It appears the memories that word conjures in his mind are too strong and too frightening. The conversation, which had been going smoothly, is now in danger of flagging. All the progress we had made so far to encourage Beringer to come out of his shell might go to waste, unless I do something to salvage the situation. The question is, what should I do? I don't know. Nazir, show Beringer some magic tricks. Does he like us still? Okay. Nazir may not have yet been trained in the other 4 elements, but a little fire and wind spellcasting ought not to be beyond him. And Beringer, who cannot have seen a magical performance before in his life, is sure to be pleased. Have I told you I'm the person responsible for teaching Nazir his magic? No. You mustn't think I'm a bad teacher, Beringer. Nazir is just a terrible student. I'm not. Prove it. Eh? Put on a magic show for Beringer here. If he likes it, maybe I could reconsider your performance as a student. A magic show, eh? Can you really do that? Of course! What would you like to see? Beringer frowns hard and strikes a pose not unworthy of a great visionary deep in thought. Nazir and I watch him, quietly bemused, as inspiration seems to dawn. I know. Don't keep us in suspense. Animals. Animals? Great idea. Which one do you like the most? Guess. Nazir sizes him up. Bunnies? Tigers. Ah, tigers. Naturally, of course. Can you make magic tigers? I can try. Hush now. Nazir furrows his brow in concentration. He cups his hand a little ball of fire springs into life between his palms. Besides me, I hear a soft, childish gasp. Bit by bit, the fire grows larger and hotter and begins to take a form. First, the tiger's head with its sleek ears, leonine fangs and prominent stripes emerges from the flames. Then the body, long and shaggy of flanks, and 2 forelegs and 2 hind legs, haunched and ending in wicked curved claws. Finally, a tail, long and elegant, that swishes back and forth as the newborn flame tiger prowls the grassy lawn of the garden, leaving scorched paw marks with each step. Amazing! In what distant deeps or skies? As Nazir chants, he commands the tiger to leap over Beringer's head. Ah! Beringer drops to the ground and covers his head. Then he looks behind him and laughs. The leap, while impressive, had probably taken too large a toll on Nazir's control over his power. The tiger landed unevenly on the ground, the impact jarring its body to disintegrate into breaking chunks that one by one flicker and die. Beringer, however, claps with all the indiscriminate enthusiasm of a child, cheering the performance wholeheartedly. Clearly, Nazir has won himself one new fan. I turn to congratulate him. My heart skips a beat when I see him bent almost double, clutching his neck. What's wrong? Oh, nothing the matter, it's quite all right. He straightens up in a nonchalant stance just in time to face Beringer, who turns back to him from the crumbling tiger. You're amazing. Absolutely, little one, aren't I marvelous? Amazing. Marvelous. Do it again. Well, I'm afraid not today. Why not? Good things don't come for free, little one. Can you pay him for the show? No. Eat, sleep, grow up, earn your livelihood and some more, then you shall see it again. Alright. Killjoy. Nazir's tone is without any bite. I lean into him and whisper in his ear. Should have thought of, I'm sorry. But it was splendid. Did you see the light in his eyes? How loudly he clapped? Why, I've never performed in front of such an appreciative audience in my life. Well, I clear my throat importantly and adopt my most schoolmasterly tone. It's been amusing and you've both had your fun, but that's all the fun you're having for today, I'm afraid. But I want to play some more. So do I. Tomorrow. I stamp my feet, adamant to maintain my ground against this concerted assault. Back to your rooms immediately, both of you, or no supper for you. I'll see Nazir tomorrow too. Promise. Promise? I laugh even as I roll my eyes. Promise. Now disperse before the doctors hear of what happened today and come for my hide. So the doctors are even scarier than Valkii. The little brat mumbles under his breath, not quite inaudibly, as he lets me lead him by his hand back to the palace. I put up with Nazir's snickering the whole walk through the garden. Alright, I'm gonna pause again. Any uncomfortable feelings? I am on my way back to my study when I catch sight of Nazir and Sala in front of an arc window, deep in discussion. I slow my footsteps. No, I feel splendid. Never better in my life. You can come to me anytime if there's anything you need. I know. You've grown so tall. Sala smiles wistfully. Even though her eyes never leave him, I doubt she is seeing the Nazir who is standing before her. I can still remember pulling you out of the wine jug when you jumped into it for a dare. As I can. Saved my life, rather. As I can. As can I, should that have been? That probably should have been as can I. You were so small then, I could pick you up and carry you in my arms. Don't go falling into any new wine jugs, Nazir. You're too tall and heavy for me to pull you out now. Ah, but you forget, now I am tall and heavy enough to climb out of any wine jugs I fall into. Or smash it, you know. To me, you'll always be that playful, helpless little boy. Sometimes I almost wish... She looks at her hands, the perfect, unaging hands of a homunculus crafted by a master of the alchemical art. Nazir gently puts his hands on her shoulders. We all have to grow up. But you're the closest person I've had to a mother, and I shall treasure those childhood memories for as long as I live. Standing on her tiptoes, Sala just manages to pat Nazir on his head. I haven't done this in years. Promise me you'll keep yourself safe, Nazir. I promise. And don't lock me out of your room again? Sala, that night when I didn't want to see anybody, I was sick and... It's alright, I know. You don't have to tell me anything you don't want to. As long as you know, I'll always be here for you. I know that, thank you. Deciding not to intrude on this intensely private moment between the two, I continue quietly on my way. It's a relief to know that, hell or high tide, someone in the palace is watching out for Nazir. For all the three princes, in fact. Sala is as close to a mother as any of the three royal brothers have. And I am glad to know she will always be on their side. Nice. Pausing again. I'm not interrupting anything, am I? Not at all. I waved Nazir into my study. What can I do for you this fine evening, my dear Nazir? Nothing, thanks. Just passing by, thought I'd drop in. How do you do? Splendid, how do you do? Ripping good. With elaborate courtesy, he bows and ambles to the chair opposite my desk. Would you mind terribly if I sat here? Certainly not. Sit away. He takes his seat. I can feel him looking at me, though I haven't lifted my eyes from the parchment on which I am scribbling. What on earth is keeping you so busy? Not another report to your council, surely. It's only a couple of innovations that ought to make some alchemical formulae more efficient. The idea for them just struck me this afternoon. Thought I'd jot them down before I forget. Sedulous, are we? The sleep after a day of hard labor is rewarding and sweet. So that's what's keeping me up at night, aside from my thoughts about you. I cannot help my lips curling upwards, but continue to scribble away. When Nazir sees I am not about to make any reply nor look up, he reaches out to take my hand in his. My dear Valkii, what do you think you're doing, young man? Holding your hand. What are your intentions? My intentions towards you are entirely honorable as well as transparent. Unable to help myself, I laugh and finally look up. And on how many chambermaids and stable boys have you tried this parlor trick, your highness? On none at all. You usually lie better than this. No, I'm serious. Our servants here are too clever by half to fall back for this kind of flummery. Oh? They understand I enjoy being gallant around them as much as they enjoy being swept off their feet by me. But they know I do not love them and have no intention to court them, and naturally, all of them know better than to truly fall in love with me. I play my little games of charm, they play their little games of coquetry? I have fun, so do they. The implication being, I suppose, that unlike them, I'm not clever enough to avoid being deceived by you. But Valkii, don't you agree that the feelings we share are as different? You have a very sweet tongue, your highness. I admit I've had practice. But I have vowed that when I confess to someone and want to court that person, I never look at anyone else. Despite myself, I feel my heart speeding up at where this conversation is going. It is the truth. I want to have eyes only for you. We get a confession finally? Finally. My eyes are drawn like a magnet to the center of the table, where his hand, strong and warm, covers mine. What brought on this conversation? Don't know. I woke up this morning and realized that I love you. Oh my god, I love you as well. What the fuck? His thumb traces a gentle path across the palm of my hand, making my head swim. Nazir is such a good friend to me. We have spent so much time and made so many good memories as friends and comrades. I treasure that which I have spent with him. Should I sacrifice it upon the altar of a fire that burns hotter and more dangerous than the fire of friendship? Excuse me? Duh. I want to be something more. Words bubble up from my heart up to my throat and threaten to spill out of my mouth. Words that may bring me extreme happiness for an instant or sorrow and regret for a lifetime. I fight them down. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I fucking said. That's not what I said. I don't belong just to myself, Nazir. I am a Rosencruz of the High Council, and you don't just belong to yourself either. Don't worry, I understand. I want nothing more in the world than to make you mine, but only if you want it as well. He laughs lightly but seriously at the same time. Unlike weeks before, I know that he fully understands. He knows I will have to return to the council, while he, as a prince, has his own responsibilities. Yet the glint in his eyes shows his resolve. Nazir is fully prepared to tackle this hurdle head-on. All the same, he does not rush me. You'll give me an answer when you feel ready, won't you? I can try. May I kiss you? You can try. Instead of leaning in, he lifts my hand and brushes my knuckles with his lips, his warm breath tickling my skin, leaving a numbing sensation behind. The universe stands still for that breathless, perfect second. Then he lets go of my hand and stands. Do try to breathe every now and then, my dear Valkii, and who's to say I'm not? See you next week. With those words and a wink, he traipses out of my study, leaving me chasing my breath and mind slightly in disarray. Another morning, another visit to pay Beringer, another hot roll. Okay. Just making sure. Alright, I think we're probably good on like literally everything. Maybe I'll just get some more of this just in case. Okay. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.